there is our special guest coming to us from Hawaii. We're so excited to have him here, the incomparable David Sancious. David, welcome to the Jim Masters Show
Oh,
live. It's a
thank
pleasure
you
to
so
have
much
you
for
here.
having me. Thank you, man. Thank you so much for having me. Great.
We've got to get started right away by just saying, how is the weather in Hawaii and how long have you been in that beautiful place?
I have been here. My wife and I have been here for 6 years now. This is
Mm.
the beginning of our sixth year.
Oh, that's
And I
fantastic.
heard someone on the radio today, sort of sarcastically, said she was talking to someone else on the mainland, as we call everything that isn't in Hawaii, this the mainland.
The mainland.
She said, "Well, it's another typical winter day in Hawaii. It's like 78 degrees and a gentle breeze from the oceans, and partly sunny. So, but it's just a sarcastic thing. But to answer your question directly, the weather's gorgeous here. It's a little bit
Very
of
nice.
a rainy season. We just had a little spell of rain, which we needed. But and eventually it's going to be like a summer day, but probably by about well, it's like 1 o'clock my time. But
So nice.
weather's awesome.
Really, really nice. You want to trade? We got about 47 degrees here in the New York area.
No, no, I know. I grew up on the Jersey Shore. I know all about
You know all about it, my friend.
all about it. I know too much
Yeah.
about
You are, and I want to let the audience know, truly a legend. And I know that word is thrown around so easily, but you have earned every ounce of that word. Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductee. He's recorded our very special guest, David, and performed on keyboards and guitar and toured with various Grammy Award-winning artists, multi beloved artists. David is an original member of Bruce Springsteen's E Street Band. He's worked with Peter Gabriel, Sting, Bruce Springsteen, Eric Clapton, Jeff Beck, Santana, Natalie Merchant,
the
Aretha
whole
Franklin. It's unbelievable. Seal and so many others. And others have, of course, used your talents as pianists,
thing.
synthesists, guitarists, arrangers, producers on recording sessions and concert tours, playing an
Yeah,
eclectic and diverse range of music. And
yeah,
after several years of playing keyboards and guitar in jazz and R&B and rock bands in the Jersey Shore area, as you mentioned, David met Bruce Springsteen at the entrance of a
mm,
club where Bruce was organizing a jam session. The rest is history. We're going to talk about that and so much more. And he's got a new project that he's also working on that he's very, very excited about that he'd like to share with us in just a second. Your
yes,
mother,
yeah,
classical music, your father loved jazz.
right. That's it.
So
It was
was
a
there,
great. It was sort of well, I mean, it was musically like an interracial marriage. It was musically, and both my parents were black, but their tastes were quite different. But they each appreciated each other's thing. My mother also liked some jazz, and my father, there was some classical music. He respected it. He wasn't like his thing to listen to. When he wanted to listen to music, it was really jazz, different forms, jazz, or blues, or R&B. Yeah.
so when you were coming up the ranks, when you were growing up and you had obviously music around you, who were some of the artists, David, that influenced and inspired you?
Oh God. Oh well, so many people. It's almost as many people as you just listed that I've played with over the years. I mean, it's like I wasn't um, I wasn't inspired by either one particular artist or one particular genre. Okay, I had the opportunity and the good fortune to study classical piano for years, for many years. My mother, God bless her, arranged that for me. And my mother and my aunt, God bless them both, they actually paid for my piano lessons together. They didn't, neither one of them had enough money to sort of do it individually, but they put their money in and paid for my piano lessons from the time I was 6 until like, I don't know, 13 or 14. Uh, but okay, artists who inspired me, let's say that, the first thing that really inspired me musically was I was listening to Beethoven, and I had to be about 5 years old or so, 5 or 6. And I used to listen to the stereo on the floor. I used to get on my belly or sort of lay on the floor, at least cross-legged, and I would listen to the music because you could hear the vibrations better and everything. And I was listening to this one piece of music. It was Beethoven, and I don't remember which opera, which symphony or which piece of music it was. It was very dark. It was very dramatic, and it had these very heavy um, bass tones, like just cellos and low strings hitting this one note. But it did it in such a rhythm that it made me feel like this is like a. It was making me see things. It sounded to me like this is a vision of a battlefield at the end of a battle, and everyone's just laying there like dead. And the living are standing there looking at it, going, why, wondering why. And I remember I walked over to the piano, and I didn't even really know how to play that well by the time, but I just found like the lowest notes on the instrument. And I just hit them in this kind of rhythm, like that, this sad kind of dirgy kind of rhythm. And that was the first feeling to me, like, oh man, that's what composing is to me. You can make people feel emotions by how you manipulate sound and rhythm. You can make people cry. You can make them laugh. It's profound. You can make them feel very deeply inside themselves. So that was the first sort of inspiration. Oh, that's what I want to do. I want to learn how to write music. I want to be a composer. And the piano being my first and my main instrument, it just worked out well. But so there was that. But I mean, early artists like let's say Jimi Hendrix was a huge influence. Um, I'm going to skip around between time. So as much as Hendrix was and is still for me an influence, the thing that made me want to play guitar was my father played a BB King album. And I don't remember the title of the album, but I remember it had it was the front cover of this thing was like a stage at the end of a show. So it was like there's a band set up with all their guitars and amplifiers, but no one's in the room and nobody's on the stage, right? It was the BB King Live album. And it was really, really brilliant. And BB King used to do this thing. It's like if you hit the E note in the middle of the fretboard on the G string and then vibrato it, it sounds insane. It sounds like some kind of hummingbird or something. It's wild. It's a very exciting sound. And BB King was known for doing this. And I remember I was just like, man, how do you do that? And so that was my way into, I wanted to play guitar. And I started playing blues guitar first. And then my older brother turned me on to Jimi Hendrix. And around the same time, what's really strange about me is that I don't have a period in my life where I was only listening to one thing, like one artist or one genre of music, because I grew up in a household where between my father's taste, my mother's taste, I have two older brothers who were also had their own taste in music, and my own little, whatever I was coming into. Uh, there was just every day this wide variety. We'd hear Beethoven in the morning and James Brown at lunch, and when we got home from school. It was just really in a good way, a very broad exposure to a lot of music. But Hendrix, Richie Havens, Bob Dylan, Joni Mitchell. I had a huge crush on Joni Mitchell when I was me and of several million other people. Yeah, really. I mean, my brother Ed, who also lives here in Hawaii with me, he's been here a lot longer than me, but he turned me on to Joni Mitchell's first album, Blue, when we were both in high school, and so that was an influence. Of course, everything going on R&B wise. James Brown being at the top of that, but all the other soul music, Sam and Dave. I at the same time, I really appreciated folk music. There was a great folk artist named Odetta. I don't remember if a lot of people remember her, but
Yeah, sure, yeah.
in that era of Richie Havens and people like that. And going along with all this other exposure to popular music at the time, I was very much learning the classical repertoire and being exposed to that and inspired by it and wanting to learn it. So it was good. It's always been a very full experience of music for me, actually.
You're responsible, as I mentioned, not only for being a part of so much iconic music over the decades, working with countless artists. Of course, we know founding member of the E Street Band, and we'll talk about
Guilty.
it. Yeah, and a good thing to be guilty of. We got a great shot of you guys there.
Oh, look at that! Look at all the hair! Oh my God!
Oh
Look
boy,
at
huh? Do you remember
this.
those days?
I remember that photo session because it was this great. The photographer was named David Garr, and David was famous for doing album covers at the time, and he was a very funny guy, and he just made us feel at ease and got us to relax. We'd never done any photo shoot for an album or anything
Yeah,
before,
right?
but he was brilliant. It was a good day, a really good day.
The relationship you've had with Bruce Springsteen,
Mm.
has been extraordinary over the years. And I mentioned a little bit of a teaser as far as how you guys initially met and then how it all came together with the E Street Band. Tell us about that. What was it like? There's another great shot of the two of you together. How did it all come together? That meeting and then everything just form one of the most iconic bands of all time.
I love that picture. I mean, look at us. Bruce is like way young. This picture was taken at the end of a band rehearsal somewhere. And I can halfway see where we're standing, but I think it was at the end of rehearsal, and a fan or somebody was around and wanted to snap a picture.
That's
And
really cool.
that was just a great moment. But how we met was it's actually through Gary Talent. Gary Talent is the sort of the person who really he literally introduced me to Bruce on that night when I came up because Gary and I somehow had done a recording session for someone in, I think they were in Spring Lake or someone, but someone had uh, their own private recording studio in their basement, right? And somehow, I guess this is all going back, but Gary and I had met, I think we had met at a club somewhere at one of the music places in Asbury Park. Anyway, he asked me if I would do this session. So we did this session together for this person. And then I used to want to go to Upstage. I lived in Belmar at the time, which was about 8 miles away from Asbury Park. So, and I used to sort of go there. I didn't know the musicians there, but I wanted to just, know about the scene and all that. I wanted to be a part of it. And one night in the summertime, I remember it was summer because it was like, just a beautiful, maybe like July or August or something. And I decided I didn't have a car then. I didn't know how to drive, didn't have a license. But I decided I was going to walk. I didn't even have a bicycle, actually. I was going to walk from Belmar to Asbury Park and, go in the Upstage Club and just see what was going on. So and I'd been there a few times before, and again, I didn't know. I used to go to the dance, to tell you the truth. It was like the
Wow.
Upstage part. It was a strange kind of club because it was, you had to walk up this flight of stairs. It was next to a Tom McCann shoe store. And there
Tom
was this
McCann.
door that opened. Yeah, you had to walk up the first flight of stairs and you arrived at what was like a coffee house and a folk music place. It was a small stage and it was acoustic, all acoustic music, right? And coffee and stuff like that. If you walked up the next flight of stairs, it was an electric club. And it was like the walls were painted. It was like day glow. It was a totally 60s situation. The walls were painted. All the music was electric. Okay. And so this one night, I'm walking up there. I walked all the way, 8 miles from Belmar to Asbury Park, and I get to the top of the stairs, and Gary is standing there next to Bruce, and they're organizing a jam session for the next period that they're going to be open. So this place used to open at 9 o'clock in the evening, and you could work from 9 to what was it, midnight. And then they had to clear the place out. It was this weird ordinance in Asbury Park. So From 9 to midnight, you could be in there and do your thing, right? Whichever level you want to be on. But at midnight, everybody had to clear out of the place physically for an hour, right? And then here we are, like hanging out on the street on Asbury Park on Cookman Avenue, or some people would go away and come back. And you could come back at 1 o'clock at night, and it went from one at night till 5 in the morning, man. From 1 to 5, it was the strangest 9 to 5 of all time. It was wild. And so they were organizing the jam session for that next, 1 to 5 situation. And anyway, Gary introduced me to Bruce. He said, "Hey, this is my friend Davey. We met, these keyboards." And Bruce just straight up asked me, he said, "Yeah, we're doing this thing. You want to, play keyboards in this next jam session?" And I, of course, said yes. And I think we ended up playing for like hours. We probably did most of the session. People would come up on the stage and go away. Like maybe, somebody would come up and play something, and then they'd be part of it, and then they'd go away, and maybe another drummer would come up or something. But this thing went on for, till we had to get out of there. And as we were walking to, somebody gave me a ride home that night. It might have been Gary or somebody. But as we were walking to our cars, Bruce told me he was getting ready to put a new band together. He was ending a band he had called Steel Mill, which was very successful band at the time. And he said, "Well, I'm going to start something new, and I want to know if you'd like to be in it." And again, I said yes automatically. And the rest, as they say, is some degree of history. That's how it all got started. That's the night that we met, and then he asked me to work with him.
And boy, have you over the years, just so much music, so many incredible songs that are just iconic. And when you hear the music, you just feel so good and you get into it. But you too, not only working with, of course, Bruce Springsteen, again, a part of so many incredible, iconic albums. Something recently too that you got a chance to work with back in like 2019, this project too. Tell us about, this was really
great. I was just going to say something about how the fact that, Bruce and I got started, and we were both like many, I think I was like 15 when I met him, and he's like about four years older than me or something. But the fact that we did what we did together in that time, and we never actually stopped, we never lost contact and actually stopped working together. He kept calling me back for stuff like not just Western Stars, which is a great record. It's one of my wife's favorite records. She loves that thing. But when he did Human Touch, Lucky Town, the double album, he invited me to be a part of that. And I was in Los Angeles doing a whole other session for someone else. And he found out, they heard that I was in town. He tracked me down at my hotel and called me up and said, "Hey, before you get out of here, come by the studio and spend some time." That's how I ended up on that record. And then Western Stars. And then the exciting thing for me, that it's not out yet, but it's coming, and I don't want to get ahead of what he wants to do, but there's 2 new albums that are going to be released in the future. One is volume 2 of Only the Strong Survive, his soul music project that we did promotion for it on the Jimmy Fallon show a couple of years. I forget when it came out ago, but we did that. And so there's a volume 2 of that project, which is already recorded and done. It sounds insane. It's really, really good. He'll release that when he's good and ready to. That's going to be hopefully in the not too distant future. And there's another project called 3 Crosses, which is brand new music from him. And we also finished recording that last year sometime. And again, I would never want to get ahead of him in terms of when that's actually going to come out. But I'll just say that it does exist. These projects both exist, and they're fantastic. And people are going to be really pleasantly surprised when he does decide to release them.
It's so, yeah, that's exciting, and everybody stay tuned for that. And that's a great announcement. So I know a lot of people are supercharged hearing that, David. Just want to show just some covers of things that you've been a part of, which will bring back some great thoughts for everybody. Even working with Sting too. What's it like working with
Uh-oh, you're freezing on
Sting?
me, Jim. I'm sad to say.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know if you still got
Work,
me okay.
working with Sting as well too. Another great artist over the years, Sting.
Mhm.
And you work with Sting as well.
Jimmy, we're having some audio issues. I don't know if you can hear me, but
Yeah, we
I've
hear you.
lost a lot of what you just
Yeah, I was talking about
said.
working with Sting over the years as well on some of his iconic music.
Okay. Oh, this is too bad, darn it. Yeah, you're freezing big time. Sad to
You're
say.
having some Wi-Fi issues there in Hawaii, I
Middle of your
think.
sentence. I know that you said you were asking me about Sting.
There's no volcanoes happening or anything,
Yeah.
is there?
Shoot.
Yeah, I know. We were talking about Sting because you've worked with Sting and Aretha Franklin and Peter Gabriel and Jeff Beck and so many others. I think his Wi-Fi might be. He looks frozen there. I'm on the East Coast in the New York area. He's in Hawaii, but he's the one that's frozen. How does that work? That's technology. There he is there. Now, what happens is when the person is frozen, they stay frozen and then they disappear. And then I come on and you've got me. Maybe I'll start juggling. Maybe anybody have anything I can juggle? He's going to come back in just a second.
All right, let's see.
How are you
Hi.
now, David?
I'm good. I got you again.
Good.
Okay.
I was saying, you're in Hawaii, we're in the New York area, but you're the one
Yeah.
freezing. That's crazy. A little role reversal.
Yeah.
Hey, we were talking about Sting and working with Sting on so many of his great songs too. What's it like working with Sting?
Mm. Sorry, Jim. I just got the first part about working with Sting, which I very much want to answer, but I've lost you now.
So, can you hear it now?
Now I've got you, but the last thing I heard was you wanted to talk about working with Sting. Let's see.
Exactly. Many years of
Yeah.
time with Sting. And what has that been like?
Oh, it's fabulous. That's one of the best parts of the highlights of my career. One of several, but the years that we worked together, the way that we met and everything is just fantastic. I love him to death. He's an incredible musician and a brilliant songwriter.
How did you
It's
guys
awesome.
meet?
Well, again, the amount of music that he's contributed, his composing it's insane. It's so deep. How did we meet? How did we meet? How did that happen? I was in a band in the early '80s with Jack Bruce and the bassist of Cream, and Billy Cobham, the drummer from Mahavishnu Orchestra, and also David Clemson was the guitarist for Humble Pie. And it was called Jack Bruce and Friends, and we were doing a television show in Germany called Rock Palast, very popular TV shows live. And the Police were headlining it. So the bill on this show was Jack Bruce and Friends, Graham Parker and the Rumor, and the Police, right? So the Police, Stuart Copeland and Sting and Andy as well, they're big fans of all kinds of music, and they're big fans of Jack Bruce and Billy Cobham. I don't know how they were familiar with me of who I work with, but anyway, they hung out as we were doing our sound check. They basically stayed backstage the whole time we were doing our sound check and our rehearsal. And then they came up and introduced themselves, and I knew who they were. When the first Police album came out, I thought it was amazing, man. That was some very original, really, really well written and well played music. And they introduced themselves, and we ended up exchanging numbers. And what happened was that Jack Bruce and Friends was managed by John Scher, who is a East Coast, excuse me, a New Jersey concert promoter. He was our manager. And he was also, when the Police played in New Jersey at the Meadowlands or any of those places, that was his area. So I used to get an invite anytime the Police were like in the States on the East Coast. I would get an invite to show, and that went on for a while. And then I think it was 1990. And any interaction with him was always really cordial. He was very cool. Yeah, all of them were,
Mm.
very cool with us, with me individually, and with us together. And it was had to be 1989. Yeah, summer of '89. I got a phone call saying that from Sting, saying that. No, let me tell the truth. It was 90. It wasn't 89. It was 1990. And the phone call was saying that Sting wanted to know if I was available to come to Italy to finish some tracks he was working on for the album that was going to become Soul Cages. And Kenny Kirkland, his keyboard player at the time, had gone missing for a while, and he really wanted to finish the record. So I said, yeah, of course I'll come. And it was recording in Pisa, Italy.
Mm.
And I flew over there, and I was really familiar with Italy by the time because I'd done a lot of work with this Italian artist named Zucchero, who was very popular in Italy. And I'd done, by that time, I'd done like years of touring and recording sessions.
Is Zucchero not the best? He really is. You've done a lot of work with Zucchero. Yeah. And I actually, in knowing that, I wanted to pull up a couple of things. I got a chance to meet him and work with him on PBS television special that we did, and we filmed it.
On a PBS special. You're freezing again. Sorry to say.
Yep. Zucchero was at the studio with us at WNAT Channel 13 in New York, and we got a chance to.
Oh, what year was that?
This was.
What year was it?
2015. 2015. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he had a big special on PBS, and he came into the studio, and we did all the interviews. He is one of the, and you've done so many, albums with him, but he's one of the nicest guys, isn't he, Zucchero?
He can be a real sweetheart. I did a lot of recording with him and a lot of touring with him. We did one tour, and I think on this one particular tour, we did several, but we had the distinction of playing every soccer stadium in the country, from the southernmost tip of Italy to the northernmost part where it's going to become Switzerland or whatever. We played every single soccer stadium in that country. It was a really amazing tour. It was good.
He's an amazing guy. When working with Bruce, you also had an opportunity to work with somebody else who we just lost not that long ago, but she was a dear friend, and that is Ronnie Spector.
Oh, yeah.
What was it like? She was a dear friend of our family, and we miss her dearly, and we love her, but just lost her just a couple years ago. But you guys got a chance to work with her with the E Street Band, Say Goodbye to Hollywood, Baby Please Don't Go. What was it like working with Ronnie?
Well, I wasn't part of those particular projects. I was gone by the time all that happened. So the band that he had together when they did that, I was not physically, a part of it.
Did you get a chance to meet her over the years?
I met her in a different situation, not in that project. Yeah. But yeah, we didn't. It was sweet. But I'll tell you, I wanted to, because we were in we sort of froze for a second, but you were asking me some stuff about the years of working with Sting, and I wanted to say some more about that. Excuse me. Are you there?
We're here. Yep.
You there, Jim? No.
We sure are.
Yeah.
I think
you froze
I can use a drink too.
I was just saying, before we had the freeze, you had asked me about working with Sting, and I wanted to answer a bit more of that in depth before we got to ask you. If you can just rephrase your question or go ask me some more about those years, because they were super special to me. So that's how we met.
That's how you met, which is really cool.
recording session for Soul Cage's album. And then he asked me to would I do the tour? Soul Cages. That was 1991, and that led to about like 5 years consecutive of recording and touring with him. And it was just great. You know what happened? My particular Sting had a lot of configurations of different bands because, he's such an excellent musician and composer. You can basically call anyone in the world and to be happy to get on the stage with him. But the particular quartet that we ended up with, where it was Sting, Vinnie Colaiuta, my dear, I love him to death, and Dominic Miller, the incredible Dominic Miller, and myself, when it was a quartet, that was a really, really fun time in that band. We went on like that for a while, and then it would expand. He added a violinist and a backing singer, and for a while, and different stages. But there was a nice period where it was just a quartet, and it was great because the songs themselves. Each of the songs, for me as music, I really like his artistic thing. I love the way he writes music. I love the way he sings, the lyrics. It's all brilliant. So it would have been fun to play that music if he wasn't famous and well known and received. But in 90 and 91, and Soul Cage was a big hit record, and then we did 10 Sumner's Tales. When we we're phrasing in and out. Well, when we did those tours, especially for 10 Sumner's Tales, the set list was like every song in the set list was already been like a top 10 hit. People would just go nuts. We'd start the first song and everybody's recognizing it because it was a huge hit. And so was the second song and the third song and the fourth and the fifth song. It was just such a great atmosphere in the house just to be a part of that much reciprocal energy from the fans, and we played our butts off, man. We were really it's the best quartet I've ever been in. I'll say that for sure. I've been in different quartets and trios and sextets and different configurations of stuff, but it was special. It was great. I was really privileged to be able to do it for as long as I did.
As I mentioned, so many iconic artists that you've had an opportunity to work with. Another being incomparable, Aretha Franklin. Wow. So like working with the Queen, Aretha Franklin.
Yeah, like you would imagine. Like you'd imagine. She was lovely. She was very and we didn't have that much. I remember Narada Michael Walden produced that record. That's on the wall behind me there. That's Aretha. That's a record of mine. And that was also the last album cover that Andy Warhol did before he passed away. But she was lovely, of course, and everyone was super respectful of her. And not that much time in the studio, but then there was I saw her again. It was Arista had done some special event, around her in New York, and all the artists on Arista. I was on Arista Records at the time. All the artists on the label had been invited to be part of the special, and I think it was something about Aretha, the event, And I saw her again, and she was lovely. It's like meeting your aunt or your mom if she was like a famous superstar, brilliant singer, kind of situation. But just a lovely person. Sweet.
Incredible. Again, when you look back at the body of work that you've contributed, David, it's just extraordinary. We're so blessed to have all of it as well. One of your first recordings, going back to 76. Yeah. Forest of Feelings. This is another extraordinary. Tell us about this.
Well, that came about because one of the A&R people at Columbia Records, this is before Sony bought it, it was called Columbia back in the day. One of the A&R people at Columbia Records had heard a demo tape that I had done when I lived in Richmond, Virginia, some years before. The E Street Band sort of moved down to Richmond, Virginia for a hot minute. And then it broke up and everyone went their own way. But I stayed down there. I got a job in a recording studio, and I was able to get some time in the recording studio to make a demo tape. So one of the A&R people at Columbia had heard it. I'm trying to remember who it was. Tom, forgive me, I'm not remembering the last name. Tom Werman, excuse me, forgive me, Tom. Tom Werman had heard this tape and he was impressed by it. So during this time, the E Street Band was doing a run in New York City at the Bottom Line. It's a club called the Bottom Line, which was at the time very famous and a very good place to get into. And we had gotten to the level of we could fill the place for 5 nights consecutive. And Bruce was on fire at the time. He was killing it. So during one of these shows, it might have been the last one or somewhere in the middle of the run, in our backstage time, Tom Werman came to knocked on the dressing room door and he said, introduced himself. And he said, listen, I heard this demo tape that you did a little while back, and we're very interested. We'd like to know if you'd be interested in doing a fresh demo tape, because we could be interested in like signing you. We really liked what we heard, but we'd like to hear something, a fresher version of it. And then they gave me the studio time. I think we finished our 5 nights there, of course, and then we probably did some more shows somewhere. But then the time that we had off being on the road, I got together with Ernest Carter and Jerry Carboy, and we went into the studios. They paid for us for about, I think, 3 days of studio time to give them a new demo tape. And then about a week or so later, they got back and said, yeah, we really like it. They kind of took their time getting back about it. And in the meantime, we shopped it to other record companies. We let Arista hear it, and I think Warner Brothers. And frankly, I would have been happy to be on Warner Brothers, because Atlantic Records, rather, was just, they had some of my favorite artists at the whole time. They had everything from Led Zeppelin to, the hippest R&B. It was brilliant. Anyway, finally, Columbia came back and said, well, we really like it, and we'd like to offer you a contract. And that was that. Of course, it's what I always wanted to do. That's what Bruce and I have in common, is that we both always wanted to make records and be in a band and record, compose and record and play the music live. And he always knew that I was writing music, and always, to this day, he's a huge supporter of whatever I'm doing musically. So I agreed to do the contract, and then that's when I left the band. I think around 74, somewhere in there. I could be wrong on my years, but and then what happened from that, my first album, that's when the phone started ringing for me. I got calls from all kinds of people. I got a call from, that's how I ended up working with Peter Gabriel. I got a telegram. This is how old I am, okay? This is how old we are. I got a telegram from the record company saying, we have a telegram from Peter Gabriel, and he's interested in wanting to know if you'd like to work with him. He's leaving Genesis, so he's doing some new recording project, and he'd like to know if you would be interested in playing on it. And I was like, fuck, yeah, man. Of course, I was familiar with Genesis and the whole Peter and the whole situation. But that's how I met him. And years later, that particular project didn't work out because of schedules. But again, we stayed in touch through the years. And then he did the Soul album. And he decided after the album was done that he wanted to take a different live band out. And that's when I got the call to be part of the touring band. And then I think the next record he did was called Up or Us or something. Then I did the film music he did about Christ. I'm trying to, The Last Temptation of Christ. You know what I'm talking about. Excuse me, my titles. But the soundtrack that he did.
Mm-hmm.
What was the actual title of that? Forgive me, the moment. It was Willem Dafoe was in it.
Oh yeah, right.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. You want to phone a friend?
Yeah, okay. That would be good.
Yeah.
But anyway, that led to years of recording and working with Peter. We did stuff, and I did about, I don't know, 4 or 5 years of touring with him. We did stuff in Africa for UNICEF. I ended up producing Youth Student Tour to working with Peter. And yeah. But that Forest of Feelings album, and then not only did Peter Gabriel call, Stanley Clark, so I ended up working up with him and the whole Fusion gang. Lenny White called because of that.
Passion music
I
for the
knew
Last Temptation of Christ.
The Last Temptation of Christ.
That was it.
Correct.
From
But I
Peter
got a
Gabriel.
lot of session work and
Yeah.
touring from that first album was really like the floodgates just opened in terms of phone calls and projects and sessions. I did a lot of session work in New York City with
Hmm.
technical people, and yeah.
Also working with Santana as well. How cool is
hmm
that?
hmm It was very cool. Yeah, it was very good. We did in Santana. I just did one album, and we did one tour. I think it's called Beyond Appearances, and it has Alex Lidgerwood, who was a singer in tone for a while. Um, Alfonso Johnson, great Alfonso Johnson. It was a really cool band. Chester Thompson on drums. We did one album in studio, and we did one tour of Europe,
Hmm.
Australia, and Japan. And the bill was Joan Baez opened, Santana played second, and Bob Dylan was the headline act. And yeah, we didn't do America with that building, but we did all over Europe and Australia and Japan. Yeah.
Eric Clapton, another one you've had an opportunity to work with, another
Yeah.
legend.
Yeah. Bless him.
Wow. People are commenting, our viewers are commenting. They're so excited that you're here, and
Oh,
we're
wow.
taking him down memory lane. Like, oh my God, that's right. David was on that, and David worked on that, and David was a part of that. Well, like this is like Americana here. It's like everything. But working with Clapton, what's that experience like?
Well, again, it's another one of those things. When I got to work with Jack Bruce, that for me was like a major thing because Cream was one of my favorite bands in that era, going back to the 60s now when it was a spate of trios, guitar, bass, and drums. Fantastic format, and electric guitar, bass, and drums. So
There's
to
a
get to
cover of
work
one
with,
of the albums there with Jack
yeah,
Bruce.
Jack Bruce and Friends with Clem and Billy and myself.
Yeah.
But so to get to work with Jack, because I devoured everything that came out of Britain in the 60s, every record that Cream made, Zeppelin, The Who, John Mayall, Blues Breakers, all that stuff, man. I knew that music. I had it, and I was just really, really into it. It was brilliant. So to finally get to work with Jack, one of my, early influences as well, another influence, as Cream was as a band, it was great. And then I got to work with Eric because Eric knew that I had been in a band with Jack, but Eric got to see me live playing with Zucchero in Italy on a tour. There was a part of a tour Zucchero had gotten Eric to play guitar on a song, one of his songs on the current album. So he was around for a while. I think we were in Sicily, and Eric just happened to be in the area. And for a while, Eric Clapton and Zucchero shared the same manager, Roger Forrester,
Mm-hmm.
briefly, I think for a couple of years or whatever. So anyway, Eric was around and we met, and I played guitar with Zucchero in about maybe 2 or 3 songs. Most of the set I was playing keyboards, but I think I played on at least guitar in 2 songs. And he heard me play guitar, and he's like, he liked it, and he was very complimentary actually about it. So then, years later, with Eric, he had originally called me in 1998, and I had to turn him down because I was already committed to working with Seal. And I was Seal's musical director, and we were actually working on a record. Eric called me for the tour that he did with a small string orchestra.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was 98. And I couldn't do it. And then what happened? 99, I was meant to do a tour. We were actually touring with Seal. And unfortunately, that whole project, I think that was early 2000. No, if you're hearing my audio, but what
Yep.
happened was it's toured with Seal that was supposed to happen in, I believe it was 2020.
2020.
Yeah, it collapsed. The record company bailed on him, and we only did a few shows on the West Coast. And by the time we got to the East Coast, the whole thing was sort of done.
Here's one
So
of the albums you were on. This one
that's it.
here.
Still, yeah, human beings, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what
Great.
happened was, when I got home, I was like, okay, well, I got to find some work. So I called his management office just to say that, hey, I don't know what you guys are up to this year, but I had a project that is no longer a project. So if you're doing anything, I'd be very interested. Because they had called me the year before, and I had to unfortunately turn them down, just ethically. This business can be very strange, and I know guys who will say yes to everything and wait for things to pan out. But I wasn't raised that way, and that can come back to hurt you uh, in business. So unfortunately, I'd made a contractual commitment to Seal, so I had to turn Eric down. But then they said, "All right, well, thanks for calling and letting us know." And maybe about like 5 days later, I got a call from Eric. And I just happened to be in my bedroom standing next to the telephone, and the voice machine, the answer machine was going to kick in. And I was just able to pick it up on time and speak with him. And he said, oh, man, it's great. I'm calling you because you called me. And we had a person in place, but they bailed on us at the last minute. So we'd love to have you do the project. And that ended up being the tour with the live double album, One More Car, One More Rider, with Steve Gadd in the band, and it was incredible, man. Nathan East, Andy Fairweather Lowe, and myself, and Eric, and
Some of the viewers were asking if you worked with Nathan East, right? He's
yeah,
amazing too.
yeah, he's fantastic. This is brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It was a very good band. It was really fun. And the great thing is we all got along just fine together. It was very nice on stage, very cool off stage as well. It was very nice.
Your output of music yourself is extraordinary too. And I know there's one particular album that really has a special meaning for you. And maybe you can share that with our viewers. And we welcome everybody who's watching live around the world. We have, the incomparable David Sancious here coming to us live from Hawaii. So if the Wi-Fi a little crazy, well, he's, a couple thousand miles away in the middle of the Pacific Ocean on a beautiful island. So far, so good.
Yeah,
He's in a sweet spot right now. Um, Eyes Wide Open, a
yeah.
fantastic one. This
Thank
is extra special for you. Tell us about why that is.
I got the feeling it's a collection of things I've been working on for a while, but I suddenly just got the idea that some of my music is instrumental, some of it's been vocals. Like some of it's, for instance, like True Stories. We had Alex Lidgerwood. I wasn't sort of ready to sing that music, um, and I would hire different vocalists at times till I could. But I felt actually it was working with Seal that made me want to go ahead and sing it myself and get it together, because he really encouraged me. They all did, actually. Sting was very encouraging of me singing. There was some songs where we would sing. I had to sing some backing vocal parts, and it taught me some things technically about singing, actually, about projection from the voice and stuff. And so did Jack Bruce. So just gradually over the years, but finally working with Seal, I was the musical director, and I had to rehearse vocals for him for the live show. And we had two fantastic musicians. We had Paul Maben from Chicago and Mike Harvey from New York. Brilliant singers, each in their own right. So Paul and Mike and Seal together, we did all their uh, vocals from the record, we were able to reproduce them live. So at the end of band rehearsals, I would get together with just the four of us, on a grand piano, and we would go through all the parts. And I sort of, not selfishly, but in terms of putting out notes, I would have to join in and sort of duplicate someone's note until, and then they would do it themselves. And in the course of that, Seal was very encouraging. He says, "Man, your voice sounds nice. You got a nice voice." And again, he taught me some things about projection, how to sing, how to relax your throat. And then he really, I'm going to say he's really responsible, because not only did he just give me some pointers technically, he traveled with a guy who was his vocal coach at the time. And he had all these crazy exercises to do to sort of open up your throat and get all the congestion and mucus off your
Mhm.
throat, so that when you sing, you really hear what you sound like. You don't hear
Mm.
like a congested version. And he let me have lessons with him. Going to forgive me. His name is Gary. I don't remember his last name. But he had a whole series of these exercises to do. So, and he still would work with this guy before he would do vocals, before he would do like vocals in the studio, and he would keep his voice really open. So he let me work with him, and the difference was amazing. And I'll do them to this day. But the long story short of that was, it let me hear what I really sounded like, and it does all. It helps your intonation, it helps your control, and everything like that. So when it came time to do the vocals for Eyes Wide Open, I felt more than ready to just do it myself, and was able to write things in keys that were good for me to sing in, and it worked out really, really, really well. But in terms of it, it's the content of it beyond me just singing it. It's like what the songs are about, and the message of the album is we need to be always aware of what's going on in our society, in our world. And our society can't mean just like our neighborhood. I mean our whole the earth itself, and we're differentiated by language and geography, but we're not really separated by it. The problems we have in this country are the same problems that people are having everywhere in the world, whether it's homelessness, the economy, um, instability. We are truly united, and we can't live like it's just us and no one else. We've got to be, it's like, I'm okay and too bad on you if you're not okay. That will not work in this world, in our society, in a three-dimensional dualistic existence. You can't be like that. So, you know, we're going through challenging times, but, you know, I firmly believe at the end of all our challenges that we're going through now, we have this insane situation, and I don't want to drag you or your situation into anything uh, uh, politically, offensive or damaging anyone. But I mean, we have a situation where the wrongest person on the planet is in charge of so much of fundamental things in our society. And you're going to see that it won't work out for those who want to just control things and who don't have the empathy for other people in their life. It's very chaotic and challenging. It's very hard to watch democracy being taken down peg by peg, day by day, by all these uh, dramatic, upheavals. But at the end of it, I believe firmly that the light, the light and love, what is really the best in us, will somehow, can't tell you exactly how right now, will triumph and correct and eliminate the gross wrongness that is going on now in our country, in our society, and again, around the world. We're not the only people taken out on the chin by authoritarian entities and people who want to do some very negative things. But it's going to work out for us. But it's going to be a struggle. We're not done.
It leads me to the fact that you have released some extraordinary new music tracks from your new album, The Ghost of Jim Crow.
Yeah.
Tell us about this project and why it's so near and dear to your heart and so important. There we go on the screen here. Why it's so important for people to soak this in. And congratulations on it. I know it's been a labor of love for you, David.
Thank you. We're midway through it. At the moment, it's going to be a trilogy. I have the next song will hopefully come out next week, and then there's one more song after that. But why it's so important is because it's relevant to now. You know, it's what's going on with us now. I don't want to get into a whole lot of detail about the Jim Crow era, but suffice it to say, um, it was a period of gross discrimination and damage and violence and a terrible time of demonizing a race, an entire race of people, and doing everything possible to make sure that they have uh, as little as possible, and in terms of equality and status. Now, it didn't work out completely. It didn't work out. Blah, blah, blah. Civil rights movement, you know, boom, boom, boom. Obama. Not to make light of it, but there's a lot of good, serious people who have given their lives to achieve what we've already achieved in terms of equality, and in terms of justice, and in terms of recognition of the inherent dignity of every human being, no matter your complexion, no matter your ethnicity. Okay, we've achieved a lot. So now, unfortunately, what's that phrase? One step forward, two steps back. We are in a situation where the energy of the Jim Crow era is very, very much in our face again. Very much, very, very much in our face. And we need to be aware of it. We need to act against it as ever we can, legislatively, when and if possible. Um, of course, just verbally. That's my thing. I want to say something about it in a way that gets your attention and makes you more aware of it. At the same time, giving you my own heartfelt look at it as a member of the race that's being demonized by it. Okay? So it's important for those reasons because it's back. And it's not that it ever didn't really 100% go away. Let's be honest about that. But it's just time to shine a light on it and to stand against it, basically. You know. Um, so yeah.
When did you first think about putting it together, and how long did it take? As it's still a work in progress as you go along, like you said. Yeah.
I think I started thinking about putting it together through maybe the first Trump administration. I might be going a little bit too far back. Might be going too far back. But I really put in terms of, um, yeah, no, it has to be somewhere in there. It has to be somewhere in there. And I think the first administration of Trump for sure, and then everything leading up to the sad defeat of Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. Um, I think that's when I really, yeah, yeah, that's when I had to put the pedal down and say like this is insane because in Trump's talking and leading up to everything they want to do. This whole situation is Project 2025, which, they're underway and doing. But there's so much undercurrent stuff about how they want to just basically dismantle society and do all these kind of things that do anything but help anyone. Okay, so yeah, I think in that election cycle, this last election cycle before it all happened, I just really said it needs to be needs something by, as if I'm the only one aware of it. I'm not, and only one working against it. No way am I not. But I think in my particular arena is when I said, it's a good time to make a statement.
We You guys have graciously sent us some exclusive teaser cuts here. One is Big Beat. Do you want to tell us about that one?
Well, this is a different project.
Yeah.
Big Beat, and there's another one called The Vest.
The Vest, we have that too, yeah.
Those two songs are not a part of the Jim Crow project. Those two songs are part of a project that I have with Will Calhoun, who is the percussionist for the band Living Color.
That's right.
And we have had a duo together. We started doing it, I think, 2018. There we are.
Mm-hmm.
There we go.
Some cool things coming up together, yeah.
Yeah. We did a tour in 2018, East Coast, New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, Chicago, Detroit, that situation. So these two songs are sort of teaser versions of our set from that. And it's live. They're both live. And we have a tour that's going to start on the 1st of May.
That's right.
Again, it's East Coast. And the dates are up there to see. You can go to my website and therealdavidsancious.com.
The real
davidsancious.com. See the tour dates.
Yeah,
but these two songs are teasers for music. Some of the music we're going to do on that tour. So yeah.
What's it like working with Will? You guys play off each other so beautifully. What's it like when you two of you, this powerhouse of years of incredible skill set, coming together and marrying that together to create these sounds? It's got to be really cool for both of you.
It is, and Will and I, we've been working together for years. I don't even remember how we met, but he's been on music stuff that I've done, my independent records. I'm on a Living Color records from years ago. But we started doing this sort of formally in 2018. But to answer your question, what it's like working with him, it's like it's effortless. It's almost like you're not with someone else. It's like we're so on the same page of openness that you just accept what is, and what is just works. So it's one thing for me to be able to improvise on my own. Anyone can, a lot of people can improvise on their own. But Will, in terms of, not only is he a great percussionist, but he's a brilliant improviser. He can do things out of thin air. And we're somehow on the same sort of, frequency of openness, to where we literally, we're composing some of this stuff in real time in front of everyone. Some of these are like actual formal songs that, you play the song, and within the song, there's room to improvise. But some of the music we do together, they're literal live improvisations, the two of us, with different instruments. It's as live as, like, when Keith Jarrett sit down, or I sit down, or Herbie Hancock sits down, and you're just playing an acoustic piano, but you're just improvising the whole composition, and they're so solid that people would think that, oh my God, how long did it take you to write that? How long to rehearse it and to play it that well? Well, it takes the time that it is for it to come out of you. But to do that with another person, I've been doing that on my own for years, just to sit down and create spontaneously. But to have that with another person like that, that's also, they're not accompanying me. They're equal composition partners. And all of that is happening like live in front of your face. It's wild. you know.
Yeah. There's something
So
else that's
it's
really
yeah. We don't get to do it as often as we'd like.
as you'd like, right?
Yeah, the last time we did a show was in Red Bank. I think it was 2023 or something like that. Yeah. But we've got about 7 shows on this tour coming up. It's going to be really good, and we're going to record it all. And at some point after that, we're going to put out something formally, like live. But these 2 pieces that you have are from the 2018 tour.
You know, there's something else too before we show the or play those. In May, Piano Plaza Piano Dedication, a new weatherproof piano will be dedicated to you and your mother.
Right.
How special is that?
Super special. Super special. I wish she was alive to experience it and be part of it. I do. But she's moved on quite a while ago. But for me, it's the proof of a life well lived. How could the kindness and the support of this wonderful woman, lead to this, to the quality of my life, and to years and years later, to be recognized and honored as that? Because she didn't just help me as a great mother. She was a school teacher. She dedicated her life to education, and she helped more kids get into college in the Belmar, Asbury Park, Neptune area than you can shake a stick at. She was beloved, and she helped people have better lives and to experience the quality of an education. And I'm sort of not a sidebar, but I wasn't the only good thing that she did. I wasn't the only person that she supported and encouraged. And her one of the other things she did, she was an early supporter of the E Street Band. She let us rehearse at our house. We had a 2-car garage at the time, and we had a basement with some stuff in it. But she used to let us rehearse there. Not a lot. Not like there's a big myth there that that's where it all got together. We did rehearse there, but it wasn't like a regular thing. We had in this surfboard shop in Seaside Heights. That was the most regular sort of physical place where the E Street Band could work things out.
Well,
But she did an incredible thing, and
yeah.
a lot of people benefited. Yeah, and a couple of years ago, they approached me about this idea, this weatherproof piano, which is a relatively new invention. It was invented by a company in Israel, and there's some in London, there's in Boston, there's about maybe half a dozen of these things around the world now. And they came to me with the idea, we'd like to get this, and we'd like to, dedicated to you and your mom and the whole thing. So this is about 3 years ago. It's kind of long in the making, but here we are. It's going to happen on May the 2nd in Belmar, New Jersey at 2 p.m. from 2 to 4. I'm going to perform some myself on the instrument alone. I'm also going to do some performances with Ernest Carter, my percussionist, a long time.
I think it's May 3rd. They have May 3rd. Yeah, May 3rd.
Oh, man. Thank you for correcting me.
That's it. Well, he's so passionate, he might even show up a day early, folks.
Well, and that's what it is. You're exactly
He's ready
right.
to go now.
No, check it out. This is what I mean, because the tour starts, the Open Secret Tour starts on the 1st of May. Okay.
Yep.
And I'm scheduled to be there on the 2nd because I haven't seen this instrument at all. I haven't touched it.
Weatherproof piano.
I have a whole day to just physically get used to it. Right. So that's why I'm ahead like that.
So you've got it in mind that
is on the 4th. Yeah. And there's a rain day on the 4th. Should the weather be horrible and we can't do it, then the rain day is the 4th of May. But the event itself will be 3rd of May at 2 p.m. in Belmar, New Jersey.
Here is some of the teaser music we were talking about. We'll start first with Big Beat. Did you want to tell us a little bit about Big Beat?
Yeah, it starts. This is what we close our set with. and it starts with a beautiful drum solo. It's like we sort of reverse it, like a lot of things, like the drum solo comes like at the end of a song. This song starts with a drum solo by Will, and it leads into the rest of the tune. You're going to hear a little bit of it. So.
Here it is. We've got a legend with us here, folks. David is extraordinary. He's a great conversationalist with us as well, and he rolls with the punches. He's been doing this for a long time. And just Google his name, folks. You will see decades of incredible music that he's responsible for with other legendary artists. But the output of his own music, his own albums, is extraordinary and continues to flow in our direction. And we're so blessed. Here is Big Beat. Take a listen, folks. Really nice. Really nice. It's just, oh, there it is again. It wants to play it again. Oh, yeah. Cool. That's just a little tease, folks.
That's the tease. The full solo is like about 3 minutes in front of
Is it really?
So there's a version. If you go to the website, if they're available as digital downloads, you can have the full-on version of it. It's like a long, beautiful drum solo, and then the rest of the tune goes on. I think it's about like 7 minutes worth of, or 7 or 8 minutes worth of music in the end. But
we have really the vest too. But I wanted to just ask you. It might be a 50-50 because you've done it all. Do you yourself personally, have a preference for vocal versus instrumental? Do you prefer instrumental? You've got so much instrumental music that you've supplied for all of us too over the years. Do you have
Give me the question one more time, Jimmy?
Yeah, sure. You have so much music you've done where there's vocal and then so much where there's instrumental. For you personally, you have a preference, vocal over instrumental? Ay. That was Desi
Well,
Arnaz.
we'll get it back.
Was Desi Arnaz,
Can you
wasn't
hear
it?
me?
Yep, we hear you. Yeah, that's the Wi-Fi there. Yeah, in
Mm-mm.
Hawaii. You hear me now, right?
Hello, hello, hello.
Is it Verizon? Can you hear me now?
Oh, that's a long one, man.
I actually knew the guy that did that
I'm not
commercial.
hearing you at all, Jim, or seeing you. If
You
you're
don't,
seeing or
so
hearing
you don't
me,
see us. Do you want to go out and come in
it's a
again?
black circle spinning, not even a frozen
Yeah, we
image.
saw that on our end, but we do see you there frozen. So yeah, there's that black circle. It looks like 1980 when you're waiting for your computer to buffer. He's coming to us live from Hawaii. So, he's 3,000 miles away in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, but he's going to pop right back into the studio, I don't doubt. But some really cool things we wanted to show you because he was talking about that tour that's coming up. And for those of you in the Northeast United States, he's going to be coming to this area as well. We're in the Northeast United States. But there you go. He's going to be with Will Calhoun, Open Secret. He's back with us now. Welcome back. You just had to come
There
out
we
and
go.
come in,
There.
right? Yeah,
What's up?
I was asking, and again, it's a personal
Yeah.
preference. You probably are 50-50 with it all. You worked with so much vocal, but a lot of instrumental too. For
Mm-hmm.
you personally, do you have a preference of the vocal music or the instrumental side of David?
No, no, I don't have a preference at all. They are each their own thing. That's the beauty of it all. That's like I said before, I don't have any particular allegiance to any genre. It's the music itself that I love. So yeah, the vocals are great and the instrumentals are great too, but I do not have I don't prefer one over the other. I don't think one is superior to the other in terms of impact, you know. Um,
Right.
they are what they are.
Yeah, absolutely. Your instrumental stuff is really good too, and I encourage people to make sure they include it in their library of music. All of his music is as well, and that's the thing too, David. You have touched, you know, a considerable amount of genres that you've had an opportunity to be a part of, which is really
Mm.
extraordinary. Um, you're
I think that's like a reflection of my upbringing. It really, I
right.
think about that a lot. It's just how I was made for it. It's just because it's a total reflection of how much music I was like surrounded by on a daily basis, as I was, growing up. So I think about it too. It's like, wow, man, I got to do a pretty wide spectrum of styles of music with a lot of different people.
You've been doing it for decades. And as I mentioned, do you have a couple of moments for you personally that stand out as your favorite? I would imagine, or favorites. I would imagine, I can only imagine what the feeling is like when you became an inductee with a group in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. That must have been a really special time. So much so it has moved him to silence. He's thinking about the answer. His Wi-Fi sort of the joys of doing it live, the benefits of doing it pre-recorded. He'll be back. He's frozen there. It's a nice shot of him with the gold records and platinum and everything behind him there. But he'll be back. So we will. We'll show you some more stuff. He's going to be back. I want to show you some more stuff because there's so many things, and I don't want to take too much of his time because he's a busy guy. But we take a look at some of this other material that he's been a part of as well. See if we can bring some of it up here. Some of his own material, some of his own albums. If you don't have these in your collection, this is Live in the Now. That's another fantastic one too. Again, he's worked with Sarah Hickman as well. He's worked with so many. He even worked with Patti LaBelle, another legend, another fantastic artist who's put out her output of music is extraordinary. Patti LaBelle, the one and only. And David is a trooper. He will always be back. He never leaves you empty-handed. He always finds his way to come back.
Oh, we,
I
we
was
really
saying,
try. Hey,
it's, I
yes,
was
go ahead.
saying, as far as there's so many pinch me moments that you've experienced over this illustrious career as one of the most incredible people in music, and you've supplied so much of your talent for others as well. Are there a few moments in your career that stand out as some of your personal favorites? I would imagine being inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame was probably one of those moments.
Yeah, yeah, that was one. You froze at the end, but I hope you're hearing me. That's a highlight again, getting inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Yeah, absolutely. That's up in the top top tier of experience. But I mean, I've had so many, man. There's been a few. I just, I love playing live. So I've got so many memories of um, concerts. Live concerts in stadiums, in arenas, in like theaters. Small places, big places. But I don't know. It's almost too many to mention. But I'm just gonna have to say that being inducted to into the Hall of Fame was certainly right up there. Hey, listen, I want to share something with you before we hope
Oh yeah, absolutely.
like we just did. Okay,
Yeah.
this is a book.
Oh,
This
cool.
is this is a book that inspired me to. This is why the project is called Open Secret. Now, this book is called The Open Secret, and it's written by a gentleman named Tony Parsons. And you can download it you can find it on Amazon or wherever you get books. It is very thin. It is not a big book. It is deep. It changed my life. And should you read the first page of this book, it's not a big, thick read, but the very first page of this book will blow your mind, and you won't be the same. Your consciousness will not be the same. It'll be of a slightly expanded quality if you just dare to read even the first page and get through this whole book. It's profound. I gave it to Will after I read it. He read it without putting it down, and it has
How
a
has it
fantastic
changed
effect.
your life, David? How has it
It
changed your
has
life?
it has expanded my consciousness. It has opened up the the perspective of what it is, what it means to be conscious, to be aware, what it means to be. What are we, you know, as energy, as beings, as people? It's I should say that and leave it there. I'd like for people to experience themselves and
I'm in
see what it
tune
does
with
to
all
them.
of
But I
that.
mean, check
No,
it out. The
Your
Open Secret by Tony Parsons. It's
this is
incredible.
one of the things that I've always admired about you, not only being one of the most revered people in the music industry, and I know you're humble about that, so I'll say that for you, but you have this deep uh, inner wisdom, this compassion, this empathy, this deep understanding of the human condition. You have this desire to entertain and get us, hopping on our feet, but you want to reach people at depths, mind, body, and spirit that go beyond just having music go in the ear and out. You want to really leave us with something that makes us think about our own lives and why we're here and the relationships that we have and the precious moments that are fleeting. And you've tended to always be that way. If you really listen to the music and the way you play these instruments, you feel like you're taking us on this journey, and it's a deeper level than just the periphery. And that's something I'm very in tune with, that kind of stuff. So it's a vibe that you've always given off that I think is one of the things that people gravitate to you for, because they know when David is on the scene or David is talking about something or he's performing, it's it's all in, and it's at a level that goes, it's like a higher consciousness, intuitive nature. It's really extraordinary stuff, Dave.
Well, that's very kind of you to say. Thank you, Jen, so much. And that's it. I don't. You know, gosh, how can I say it? I don't have a plan as such, except to just be. I'm going to be my best person, my most sincere, my most, um, I don't know, the open, very open and productive. And I very much want to make a contribution. Um, I don't want to make a contribution. I want to be a contribution. That's what it
I
is. It's
love
beyond
that.
the level
Yeah.
of like, it's not something that I personally want to create. It's my daily, the way that I am in the world. That's it. I want that to be everything. An expression of my consciousness, my spirit, and that my mind. It's like my head, my heart, my mouth, and my hands are on the same page.
Hmm.
The whole thing, there's no distinction, there's no separation. It's not like, and there's no hesitation. It's one thing, and it's that way all the time. And whether you're on a concert stage in front of thousands of people, or you're walking down the street on your way to get the evening newspaper, or get your groceries, whatever, it's that, it's that all the time.
It is. It absolutely is. Before we head out, I just want to throw in the vest so they can hear that. Did you want to tease the vest a little bit?
Oh yeah. Yeah, this is again one of these examples of that. This was composed in front of your face. This is not rehearsed at all. The melodies, the chord structure, the rhythm, and Will again as a genius percussionist. But he's also, I think that's another thing that unites us. He's also very much into electronics and electronica in sense. But he has these unique electronic instruments that are combinations of acoustic things. He triggers electronic uh, impulses too. It's amazing. There's one particular thing. It's like a vest that he wears. He puts it on, and as he touches it, it triggers things. It triggers melodies and rhythms. And I, playing synthesizer on this, I have a whole palette of sounds that I feel are contemporary with it. But harmonically, what happens and melodically, what happens, we're just doing it. I trust you. This is not rehearsed or pre-written in any way.
Is there that one instrument, the synthesizer? Is it a Yamaha that is the go-to one for you, or a specific one?
Yes, my
Yes,
moneymaker, the Yamaha Montage. Yeah, Yamaha Montage 8. That's it.
that's the one. Yeah, I did a little digging. I knew that. That's it. Here.
Yeah.
What a great description of the vest, too. Here it is, folks. We'll play it here, a little snippet, and then we'll wrap up with David. He's been very generous with his time, and we really appreciate that. In beautiful Hawaii. Here we go. The vest. Wow.
Yeah.
What a tease, because you want more. Wow. That's such a nice sound, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, there it is again. It always wants to queue up.
It's kind of like Will and I. It's almost. It sounds like film music to us directly.
Doesn't
We
it?
sort of
Yeah.
we're both very much into the cinema and like that. So that's how we that's how we sort of feel about it. It has that sort of um, ethereal quality, but can be super concrete. Now they're very different. Like Big Beat, the energy behind Big Beat, and that are quite sort of other side of the spectrum. But within all that, there's a lot of sound and textures and rhythms that we get up to collectively. You
Really cool stuff.
know?
As I mentioned, in addition to all the amazing people that you've worked with, the output of music that you yourself have put out too, of course, David Sancious and Tone, True Stories. I mean, there's so much great music, folks. You got to add it to your collection, and pronto.
Thank you.
Yeah, right? Absolutely. Well, and this one too, another fantastic one. Yep, this goes back in time, huh? Transformation, the Speed of Love.
Yeah.
Uh, Cinema too was another for you that was
Thank you.
very, very
Very much.
special,
Yeah.
right?
Thank you. Thank you. Thank
Yeah, it's cool stuff, my friend. A couple more. Look at this one here, and really amazing stuff. What would you say now, there in beautiful Hawaii, to that guy? What would you say to that guy now?
you. Oh my gosh.
It's a great
I
shot
would
too.
say I would say keep going. It's going to
Keep
get
going.
better and better and better.
Yeah,
Keep going. Just don't stop.
just don't
He was in a
stop.
good place. That person in that picture was in a pretty good situation. But I would just say to him is, don't stop. Just keep going. And look out.
You mentioned your mother and that dedication in May. She's with you. She'll be with you in spirit. She's there. The
Oh,
folks are there. Yeah.
absolutely.
They got
Absolutely.
to see the success, right? They got to experience your
That's it.
success.
Luckily, both
That's
my
a
mom and
blessing.
they did get to see.
That
Uh,
is a blessing, because that's not always the case, right?
yeah.
That's truly
Yeah.
a blessing. It's really cool stuff. You are truly an amazing talent and an amazing person, David. And I just want to say that
Thank
on
you.
behalf of all
Very,
these
very good of you to say, man. Thank you.
viewers, going back to the days of the E Street Band with Bruce and company, to everything else that you've done. Just thank you so much for all of the music, and keep it coming. And we look forward to the tour that's coming up. I'll mention it again to the viewers as well. What would you say are a couple of blessings and joys in your life that keep you going? You could easily have your feet in the sand in Miami, swinging
Ooh.
away in a hammock, although you are in Hawaii, so you can swing in the hammock there, and say, I'm good. I've done so much. I'm good. But you still want to connect and inspire and
Well,
entertain us
I'll
all.
tell you,
What is it?
the number one blessing in my life right now is my wife, my wonderful wife of 26 years. In January, we had our 26th anniversary. So she is a major, major blessing, and she keeps me going in all kinds of ways. Just the fact that we have the relationship that we have, it's magic. It's the number one blessing. I only intend to play music until I drop dead. However, any mobility in my body and my mind will go to expressing that. So my cardiologist thinks I'm going to live for another 30 years. So
We
I'm
love that.
71. So we'll see. We'll see if he's right. We'll see. But
And
that's
we'll
it.
have you back several times, but we're going to make a date. 30
Okay.
years from
Ah,
this night, you will be back on the Jim
oh
Master
my
Show.
God. Let's try and do it before that. Let's make it a little
And
sooner than
hopefully we'll
30.
have the cardiologist as a guest as well to confirm it
Yeah.
all.
He
um, something else I thought of before we
Great
go.
show.
Living in Hawaii, has that in any way influenced your outlook, your music, just being surrounded by the beautiful Hawaiian culture, the beauty
I
of the
lost you.
island, the way of life? Has that influenced
Mm-mm.
any of your Has living in Hawaii influenced your music, your way of thinking, being surrounded by the beautiful culture and the beautiful, uh, just the beauty of
Oh
Hawaii?
man, good question. It's a beautiful place. It's the friendliest place I've ever lived in my life. I've never been more comfortable or felt more welcome. It's deep. So yes, and this particular island where my wife and I live, it's like you're living inside a garden. It's beautiful. I mean, the most common mundane actions are just you're just drenched in visual beauty all the time. So yeah, it's affected me, of course, in a very positive way. Yeah, I just we appreciate every moment that we're here. We love it.
We appreciate every moment that you've spent with us, my friend. The viewers have been commenting throughout, and
My
people
pleasure.
remembering the music and the songs and loving the upcoming material as well. And again, you can go to the website, we'll show that as well. I hope you enjoyed the time with me as much as I absolutely have with you,
I
David. This
very
has
much
been
enjoyed being with you, Jim. Thank you so much for having me.
This has been a true delight and an honor and a pleasure. And again, thank you so much for touching us in the way that you have all these decades with your outlook on life, your amazing skill. It's extraordinary, and your passion for sharing it with all of us. You really are a treasure,
Oh,
and you've got a home here anytime. We'll keep that porch light on for you. You are welcome back at the Jim Master Show, my friend.
thank you so much, Jim. My pleasure. It's an honor. Thank you.
It's an honor. You be well. You take care and enjoy Hawaii. We'll see
Thank
you
you.
on the tour too. We'll see you on the tour.
Okay.
You'll come say hi,
Yes.
okay?
Okay, great. All right, man.
Blessings to
God
you and yours. Take care.
and, and you. Take care.
Wow, amazing. What a legend and a nice guy, right? He speaks from the heart, and I knew that when we had the opportunity to have him here on the show. He is just one of those guys that has been a part of our lives for such a long time in so many ways, shapes, and forms. And going all the way back to the Bruce Springsteen days, of course, the E Street Band, some great stories about working with Bruce and company. But as I mentioned, in addition to all of that, David himself is a prolific artist, and his output of music is incredible. I want to mention as well too that this is coming up. You can go to his website to learn more, and yeah, don't forget to get the book that he was talking about as well. That seemed to be really special to him. The Open Secret. Check that out as well. Here's his website. Latest material coming out too. Ghost of Jim Crow. This is something very, very special. You got a chance to hear some music too, just some little teasers there as well. But again, go to the website, learn about all the cool things that he's done, that he's doing. It's a cool website. We were perusing it the last couple of days. It's really something. And, you know, when you take a look again at the body of work that this man has been responsible for, some of the greatest albums of all time, with some of the greatest artists of all time, and continues to have the output. Look at all these albums. We just picked a few of them with Bruce Springsteen and Sting. I mean, so many people as well. Michael Walden. It's just amazing. It really is. And, you know, Bruce Springsteen, of course, Human Touch. And Peter Gabriel, you guys were excited when we showed that. He's worked with Peter and all of his music too. Sarah Hickman, he's been a part of all of these incredible albums. The amount of people, you know, there's Sting again, another great album. Daryl Hall and John Oates, Home for Christmas. Yeah, he's part of that too. And we talked to some wonderful memories of Aretha and Santana. Absolutely. You guys probably have these in your collection, right? And he mentioned fondly Jack Bruce too. Some great stories about Jack working with Eric Clapton and Seal. Some great stories, you know, about Seal as well. Some just epic, epic music that we've been talking about here on the show. Patti LaBelle too. These are just a few. I mean, it goes on and on and on. Jeff Beck and so many others. Stanley Clarke, another phenomenal artist. Even this too, a tribute to Pink Floyd. Return to the Dark Side of the Moon. He's on all these, folks. It just goes on and on. It's really extraordinary. There's his album as well. We showed that as well. We just, dug out of the the archives, and there's his first. His very first goes back to 76. This one, great story about this. If you don't have this in your collection, add it quickly. Eyes Wide Open. Again, really cool stuff. This was great too. 9 Piano Improvisations. Yeah, so much great music. And we're just showing you these so you can, go on wherever you go to get your music and just add all of these to your collection, because you're going to want to hear more. And it is usually what happens when people come on our show. They start buying the books, the CDs, the DVDs, whatever it is. That's a cool shot too. I love that. Then and Now of our great guest, David. Again, he really is amazing. And I love that whole story about Zucchero. Again, Zucchero's nickname is Sugar. And as I mentioned, I had an opportunity to meet Zucchero, which was really cool, on a PBS special. And he's a dear person. And it was a PBS special that aired nationally, Zucchero. And this was at the PBS studios, WNAT Channel 13 in New York City. He was on set. We got a chance to interview him as well. So really special. Gang, I just want to also let you know as well that there's some amazing people that have been on our show too, including Miss Melba Moore. And she was here separately, but she was also here with Brenda Russell, another legend and another fabulous person. Also, did you know that Florence LaRue was with us as well? Lead singer, founding member of the Fifth Dimension. She's been a guest on our show, and Freda Payne has been a guest on our show. Legendary, Band of Gold. Absolutely. Another iconic artist as well. And of course, we talked about Ellis Hall from Tower of Power. He's coming up. And the Pointer Sisters have been here. We had Anita and Ruth with us. Melissa Manchester's been a guest on our show. And so many fabulous artists. And now David Sancious, part of the Jim Master Show family. Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductee, original E Street Band member, legendary multi-instrumentalist, and beloved. And so many cool things coming up. He's done so much, but so many amazing things coming up for him. And don't you just love his take on life? Don't you just love the way he thinks about life and all the music? He says he's always been inspired and motivated by, the composing aspect of music, and having considered himself a composer who plays well rather than someone who is just proficient on a given instrument. That's one of his many incredible quotes. He's just, this was cool, huh? This was really cool. He's a cool guy. He was very generous with his time with us. And this was a really cool, exclusive conversation. And so much more music coming up. So go check it all out. We'll show you that website again. And if you enjoyed this episode of the Jim Masters Show Celebrity Talk Show series, folks, be sure and let us know. Drop a comment below. This is archived as well on our YouTube channel, Jim Masters TV, where there's hundreds and hundreds of episodes, guests from Broadway and Hollywood, TV, film, music, all of it right here for you. Give this episode a thumbs up, like on our YouTube channel, and click the notification bell so you're notified about all our great guests and celebrity friends. Share this episode on your social media. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, Jim Masters TV. We would love that. And definitely come see us again. This really was an epic conversation with somebody quite special. Thanks for all of these great comments coming in as well. And we appreciate that. And even Kathleen Walker in New York City, she did a super sticker. We always like to acknowledge folks who support the Jim Masters Show, Entertainment Lifestyle Celebrity Talk Show series. Thank you very much, Kathleen, and everybody that has been commenting as well. Up in beautiful Vancouver, Leslie Diana, who's been loving this. Amazing. Thank you, Leslie, and beautiful. We love our neighbors in Canada. We love you in Canada. And we have a lot of Canadian viewers. We have viewers that watch in Brazil, all through South America. We have viewers in Hawaii. We have viewers coast to coast here on the mainland in America. We have lots of viewers in Europe and Asia and Africa, North and South America. Australia, we have a big following in Australia here at the Jim Masters Show. So wherever you're watching, we send you some of our Jim Masters Show levity, which is love and levity together. You can follow us on all the socials as well. And that's Instagram, Facebook, and X at Jim Masters TV. Come see us again. We have so many great guests coming up. And great guitarist, too. Greek guitarist Pavlo, who's had multiple PBS specials. I interviewed him on PBS. He's going to be making a return visit to the Jim Masters Show tomorrow. We're looking forward to that. And he might even play for us live on the air. So good stuff, folks. This is Jim Masters thanking you for your time this time till next time. And don't forget to take care of one another. Don't forget to love one another. And don't forget to do the very same for yourself. Kind of some of the message that our friend David was sharing with us as well. Take care of yourself and one another. It's important to do that. We love you all. Thanks for the time. We thank David and we thank all of you. We'll see you on the next episode of the Jim Masters Show. We'll keep the porch light on for you as well. Take care, gang, and cheers.